Good morning, friends. This is your old girl, Melanie Rose, here to share your daily aspects. Today is Monday, September 27, 2021. The moon is in Gemini all day today, and furthermore, it is the last day of the waning gibbous. And y'all, this is not the prettiest picture I've ever drawn of a waning gibbous moon, but I'm going to give myself credit for trying. How's that sound? The last day of the waning gibbous and bringing in some of that last quarter energy that asks us to reflect on what we've done so that we can make more effective plans going forward. Gemini vibes invite us to do this by talking, singing, laughing, writing. Verbal expression helps us bring in the good ideas, and we may be tempted to commit to certain changes, but now is not the time to commit or to plan. Simply reflect. Let's save planning for later this week and next so that we don't overcommit and spread ourselves too thin. The sun is in Libra. Who and what in your life do you value the most? These things will be in the sun's spotlight this year until October 22nd. And when it comes to those things we value the most, it is important to seek balance. Libra is represented by an image of the scales, pointing to the balanced hours of day and night at this time, and the balance likely of warmer to cooler weather. This sense of being able to have things both ways in moderation can be applied particularly to our finances and our closest relationships at this time. Let's take a look at these planets and aspects before we get into the interpretations. Under ongoing aspects, we're still under the effect of a couple of trines here. Those are, of course, trine is harmonious. It's a very positive aspect. We've got a couple of those on today's plate and a couple of those coming up. Good times, friends. This aspect is called a retrograde. It's actually a transit motion. And this is where, from our perspective, in this case Mercury, appears to be backtracking along its course across the sky. So in reality, Mercury just goes in one direction around the sun all the time. But from our perspective, sometimes those planets will go one direction and then appear to go another direction because we're watching them go around the sun, basically. And that's what retrograde is, going the other direction. Here we have a square, and we have a couple of squares coming up here. Don't be a square. Or do be a square. I rather enjoy it. Squares can be challenging. Or they can just warn you of challenges. They can show you where to be careful in your communication or in your approaches to certain things. And also we have this opposition guy. Opposition is an opportunity to seek balance. So either you're going to find things going all one way and you have to pull back in the other direction and seek balance, or you find that you're in balance. Just kind of depending on your own situation and how this aspect is coming up for you. As far as the players we have at this party today, we have Mars, our sense of initiative. We have Saturn, our planet for structure and stewardship. We have the Sun, which is our outer self, our ego, who we are in the world to people, and the Moon, which is our inner self, who we are to ourselves, our emotional and intuitive life. And it also applies to our domestic situation, where we live and who we live with. Mercury is thoughts and how we express them. Neptune is your planetary representative for spiritual openness, spiritual awakening. And Jupiter is our growth and positive vibes. And Venus has to do with our relatedness. And Venus is large and in charge right now because Venus rules Libra, and Libra is where the Sun is for the next month. So especially pay attention to what is happening with Venus. And I would even say go to your natal chart and see what's where Venus is placed in your natal chart, what sign and also what house. This might help you gain some insight on the outer sight that you're gaining right now. Who else? Sun and Moon, Venus and Neptune, Pluto, endings and beginnings, extremes, depths. Pluto relates a lot to our intuition. And Chiron is an asteroid that has to do with how to heal. I think that's pretty thorough. I have a whole bunch of symbols right here, and I'm not going to explain them all right now, but I am going to talk about them in just a minute. So, under ongoing, we have Mars trine Saturn, which came into effect on Saturday. So today is day 3 of this 3 to 4 day aspect. This Mars trine Saturn may have put us in a mode of taking action on the things we're dedicated to, maintaining and growing. As the Sun is in Libra, I imagine a lot of this action had to do with our finances or the people and things that we most value. For example, yesterday I started a new job in a more structured environment, knowing that my income would be secured, which helps me to maintain and grow my home and my personal environment. I wonder what kind of moves you all may have found yourselves making to establish a better foundation for yourselves and your loved ones. Next we have the Sun trine Moon. This is day 2 of this 2-day transit. So our social self is in a harmonious vibe with our emotional and intuitive self and our domestic sphere as well. This is a great time, again, to reflect on what works best for ourselves in our social and our home lives. Also today marks the first full day of this 20-day Mercury retrograde, which points to the potential for miscommunication and equipment and technology issues. Sometimes when Mercury is in retrograde, I get frustrated because I feel like people aren't really listening to me when I speak to them. But then I remember that the people I interact with are mirrors of myself and my own behavior. This is especially true when Libra rules the day. So the understanding I have come to is that when I feel like I have a lot to say and no one is listening, probably the people who encounter me have a similar experience where they feel like they have a lot to say, but I am not listening. We don't have to deprioritize the things we feel need to be expressed, but we may need to reprioritize hearing what those around us have to say. This is a balance that can be challenging to strike when Mercury is in retrograde, but it is entirely worth the effort since listening to others can be informative and impactful to our own thoughts and feelings. So again, I'm going to take a marker and I'm just going to put some little ears on this Mercury. It says, listen up. Listen here, kid. Since this week begins in September and ends in October, I feel it's only fair to give you all this heads up right here. October will begin this year with a few planets and with 6 planets and a few asteroids in retrograde. My notes say, don't be discouraged if old problems need our attention. So look for that here. I'm going to post a separate video to discuss all this retrograde action, and I'll post it up here on the Old Girl channel. But these are the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, that will all be retrograde with Mercury. And then these are all the asteroids that are going to be in retrograde as we come into October. And I can't name those all for you. Pallas, Ceres, Lilith, Amor, Hidalgo, Chiron. I can name all of those for you. Okay. Let's get into today's aspects. I give these all in Central Standard Time because I am in Fayetteville, Arkansas. At 3:11 p.m. today, the moon goes square with Neptune. This is a 2-hour aspect, and it supports this Mercury retrograde action by making us susceptible to being fooled by our feelings and intuitions. This is not the best time to lean entirely on what we have envisioned to be true. If we have any amazing or practically unbelievable realizations, let's take them all with a grain of salt, seek evidence, or at least wait until this aspect has passed to give them serious consideration. Don't just believe your heart and mind at this time, okay? Look for outward confirmation. At 6:24 p.m. today, the moon goes trine with Jupiter. Jupiter here is lending generous and positive vibes to our heart and home during this 2-hour aspect. This is a good time to be really open and honest about what's going on with our emotions and intuitions, as this honesty may actually engender expansion or growth in the heart and home. So, you know, we're feeling good. So let's talk about it. Talk about how we're feeling, what we're intuiting. Okay, and then at 11:18 p.m., my mistake, 11:28 p.m., a void of course moon goes trine with Mercury. The void of course moon is making its last technical aspect with Gemini and is understood to be less influenced by that sign or the next sign, Cancer. So our free-floating inner life is making beautiful, happy vibrations with our planet for thoughts and communication. Even though Mercury is in retrograde, this is a very positive aspect that helps us balance our thinkings and our feelings. This is a lot like the Sun trine Moon energy that is on its way out. We can be particularly effective at expressing our thoughts and feelings right now. We just have to remember to listen as well, because if everybody talks and no one listens, nothing is truly communicated. Share, talk, listen. My version of Eat, Pray, Love. There you go. This week will be a busy one in the field of personal planet astrology. The sun will be making about 4 1 or 2 day aspects this week. Sun square moon is coming up tomorrow, indicating some challenges between our outer lives and our heart and home. Mercury also has a couple of 1 or 2 day aspects pointing to our thoughts and day-to-day conversations. Venus will make a couple of 3 or 4 day aspects this week, and these will have more power in our lives while the sun is in Libra, since Libra is ruled by Venus. We will begin discussing these on Wednesday. Mars is also going to throw in an opposition to Chiron this Friday, a 4-day aspect that calls into question whether the things we're doing are in alignment with our desire to heal. We will definitely talk about all of this and more in upcoming videos. Thank you for showing up today. This has been your daily aspects and astrological weather forecast for Monday, September 27, 2021. If you feel inspired to share a question, an observation, or an experience, I invite you to add to the comments below. Also, please like my video and subscribe to the Old Girl channel. I will leave this up for about 30 seconds so that you may look it over, and I'll see you all tomorrow for more daily aspects.